The next day at work, I shamefully said thanks numerous times when my colleagues commented on my bag. It's by no means the girliest bag in the world, but it's definitely feminine. In fact, the only thing about my appearance that doesn't have a feminine edge is my hair and my head. No one mentioned my new shoes, but they did attract more than a few gazes in spite of the fact that they came from the men's department. I guess it's the clearly visible 15 denier black nylon that's really drawing their attention. Once again, I was given a menial task that involved formatting the capitalization of 1001-page titles. Dull doesn't come into it, and I spent as much time clock watching as I did focusing on my work. I heard a loud bellowing laugh come from my line manager's office at the far end of the room. I looked up to see 4 or 5 staff members in Rick Mason's office, all looking and laughing at something. It's nice to know they've got time to stand around having their jollies. I thought as I trudged my way through the simple yet laborious task I'd been given. I glanced towards my line manager's office once more and saw Josephine exit. I returned my attention to my monitor for a moment before looking up again and saw Josephine walking towards me with a broad grin on her face. "How you getting on?" she asked. "Fine," I replied. "How many have you got done?" About 450. I told her. "Is that all?" she retorted. I gulped and looked up at her. "Will it be finished today?" she asked. "I don't think so," I reluctantly replied. She sighed at me and told me that it needs to be finished tomorrow morning, and I don't mean lunchtime, she added. I gulped and nodded. "Anyway," she continued, "Rick said to give you this," she said, placing an A5-sized magazine on my desk. "He said his mother should have your flat bras in stock by next weekend," she grinned. I wanted to die as I looked at the booklet in front of me. On its cover is a picture of a man in full makeup wearing stockings, suspenders, control panties, and a flat bra. Above this is its title, Lovelace, Male Lingerie Catalogue. "There's some very nice stuff in there," Josephine said in a friendly voice, "not the sort of stuff a real man would wear, but nice nonetheless," she added in a slightly evil tone. I gulped and muttered something along the lines of thanks as she grinned down on me. After an uncomfortable silence, she suggested that I should put the catalogue in my handbag. "You don't want people thinking you're looking at lingerie when you should be working, do you?" she said before leaving. I'm certain I must have been bright red as I picked up my bag, unzipped it and put the catalogue inside. Yet again I cursed myself for not finding myself somewhere to live before starting my new job. But no. I stupidly figured it'd be easier to stay with my aunt with a view to finding somewhere eventually. I sighed as I placed my handbag beside my chair and returned to the task at hand. It wasn't hard, but my God, it was boring. So much so that I couldn't help but yawn throughout the last hour. When I arrived back at my aunt's house, she asked me if I'd had a nice day. I concealed the truth and optimistically said not bad. "Mrs. Mason called and said she'll have some proper flat bras in next week," she told me. "Oh," I replied. Gulp. I gulped. "She said she'd given her son a catalogue to give to you. Did you get it?" she asked me. I nodded and retrieved it from my handbag. "I think he showed it to half the office before it got to me," I moaned as I handed the Lovelace Male Lingerie catalogue to my aunt. "It's not for me, William," Aunt Katinka stated, refusing to take it. "Have you had a look yet?" "No, not yet," I replied as I looked at its off-putting cover photo. "Well, I'll make you a nice cup of tea whilst you have a flick through," she said with a smile. I knew the difference between a suggestion and an instruction, so I took my usual seat in the lounge and hesitantly opened the male lingerie catalogue. I flicked through page after page of bras, girdles, corsets, all kinds of knickers from huge control briefs to skimpy thongs and everything in between. I'd have preferred it if the models weren't all middle-aged men. Then there's underskirts, slips and nightwear, suspender belts and stockings, tights, knee and ankle highs and normal socks. Well, I say normal, they're all either girly or feminine with their pelerine knits, floral patterns and pink spots or stripes. I turned the page to find a host of girly white ankle socks, each with a frilly lace trim around the cuff. "Those are pretty," Aunt Katinka said as she delivered my cup of tea.